So the JD Vance Tim Walz debate was the other night, and I didn't watch MSNBC after that. I watched something else. I watched some other news coverage. But I guess Joy Reid and Simone Sanders, I guess they just blew their stacks. And I actually thought the debate was pretty good. It was a pretty civil debate. I think JD Vance got over on Tim Walz a bit. I think JD was actually the better debater on this. But they both got their points out there. And they were civil. The best thing about that debate was they talked about a lot of different issues in a very calm way. I mean, they went at it a little bit, but they were very complimentary towards each other. And that's what debates are. Debates are not trying to kill the person. Debates traditionally is that, you got a view, I got a view, we'll debate it. And then we'll just go from there. Now, when you're running for president, that's a totally different thing. You're trying to take that person out. But Tim and JD, they're the VPs. People aren't voting for them. They're voting for Kamala and Trump. So Joy was just her little blonde head was like, I don't understand what happened. and Simone, she was like, she said, talk about Walz. She said, I'm just kind of like, well, if you agree so much with JD Vance, why should they vote for you? Now, it wasn't like Walz, every time Vance said something, Tim Walz said like, oh, I agree. Oh, I agree. Yes, I agree. Oh, yeah, you're absolutely. No, he didn't do that. It seemed like just a little bit throughout. It basically was like towards the end, I think. He was saying like, hey, we do agree on some things. Listen, Tim Walz is the governor of Minnesota. That is a Midwest state. And for him to be as successful in politics as long as he had to not just get Democratic votes, he also had to pull Republican votes. And that's not easy, especially in the rural areas in the Midwest. But he's been successful for a long time, so he had to pull Republicans. And for the most part, if he's governor and and the Republicans control the House or whatever they call it, if they're in charge, then he has to work with Republicans. And plus, he seems like he's a decent guy, and he's not trying to cause any drama. He's like, and Simone knows this. In Washington D.C., the only way you get bills passed in D.C. is that you have to collaborate, you have to cooperate, you have to negotiate. That's how this is done. I guess Simone want him to just go out there and be all sassy. Listen, Simone, this ain't Real Housewives. Ain't nobody gonna be throwing stuff around and flipping tables. This ain't that type of party. Now, if you wanted a sassy dude, I guess they could have found a sassy dude, but neither JD or Tim are sassy dudes. They just dudes. They're just regular dudes, man, who's just in politics trying to get their person to win. But here's the thing. Like, I've never really been a Simone fan. Listen, I respect her hustle. I respect Simone's hustle and I respect her brand. She worked for the Bernie Sanders campaign and she parlayed that into being a pundit on CNN. I think MSNBC too, but or both maybe. And her brand is she was the sassy political chick with a fade. That's her brand. She got a close cut. She's sassy. She's loud, and she got personality, right? So she parlayed that into getting a job in the Biden administration, where she worked in Vice President Kamala Harris's office. The interesting thing is, she left within the first year, which is kind of odd. Usually, they last at least. Most of the people who've gone over there has lasted like 3 years or 4 years. It's kind of rare to see someone leave the first year, especially for the vice president's office. It's not like you're working for Biden. That's the hot chair right there. Like, he's making all these decisions. So she was working for Vice President Harris. I'm not saying that's the easy job, but it's like there shouldn't be that much drama. But Kamala had she had some turnover that first year. This is why I wish I could interview Vice President Harris. Like, there's questions I would love to ask her, and that the media would never ask her. I was like, when you're a VP, like, you had some turnover, like, what was going on? Now, she wouldn't have never answered that question, but that's the type of questions I would ask her because it's quite interesting. So Simone left that, and then Simone got her show on MSNBC, which I did not agree with. Like, she left Biden, got that show on MSNBC, and Jen Psaki did too. But Jen Psaki is a little bit different because Jen Psaki, it feels like Jen Psaki was an anchor before. She was very comfortable, right? But okay, I'm not talking about Jen. So Simone got her show, and I don't think anybody was asking for a Simone Sanders show. Like, did anybody say, who we want to see on TV on a regular slot on the weekends? Simone Sanders. I don't think anybody was saying that. Not me. And I'm upset by that Because there's so many journalists who work for NBC and MSNBC who's paid their dues. They're covering hurricanes. They're covering elections. They're flying around almost every day covering stories, covering trials, covering just pieces that they might film and never go on TV, spending time away from their family, maybe not even having a family because you're on the road so much. Like there's a couple of people who deserve that show more so than her. There's Shaq Brewster. Like Shaq Brewster, you know, he's been an NBC reporter for a long time. He covered the last election. I think he's covering this election too, maybe. He deserved the show over Symone. And Blayne Alexander, like I love Blayne Alexander. She's great. If you say like, hey, we're going to have a black woman have a show, why not give it to Blayne? She's been there at MSNBC. She's covered a lot of different reports. She actually has a family. She has a baby. Like she's, there's a lot of sacrifices she's made as a reporter, and she should be awarded with her own show. But they gave it to Symone, and the ratings were horrible because nobody watched it. And then they gave her this show with Michael Steele and I think Mendez, called The Weeknd. I hate that title too because like if you type in The Weeknd, the artist The Weeknd pops up. There wasn't any other names you could have called that show than The Weeknd. Like when I say, hey, have you seen The Weeknd? It's like, no, does he have a new song out? No, the MSNBC show. What's that? And I guess the ratings for that show's okay. And they're not a bad trio together, but so I'm not a fan of Symone. Like, hey, like I said, I respect her brand, I respect her hustle. I've just never been a fan. But for her and Joy Reid to be upset with Tim Walz just because he was complimentary to JD Vance, and just because I think like Joy, I think they wanted him to just really blast JD and just be mean to JD, and it's like, no, that's not who he is, and that's fine. Not everybody's nasty in politics. In fact, I think we need more people that's kind of like Walz. I can't figure out JD. Like JD was one way once upon a time, and then he hated Trump at one point, and now he loves Trump. But Kamala did the same thing. Kamala criticized Biden, and then she became his VP. And Vance did the same thing. He despised Trump, and then he became his VP. So anything for power, I guess. But I like that debate between Vance and Walz. They talked about issues. They're very calm. They're very civil. Nobody was nasty. And I think that's actually good for kids to see. Because the way politics are now is everything's just been reduced down to name calling and see, they like the fact that Kamala, when she was Kamala, when she was debating Trump, she was going stuff like this. They want all that sass. Like I hate sass. Like I don't want sass in my politics. I want issues. I want issues being discussed. I want civility. And I want to know what these two people are standing on. I don't care about smirks. I don't care about facial expressions. I don't care about that stuff. This is not Annie Cohen's Watch What Happens Live. Like this is real life stuff. But if Simone and Sanders and Joy Reid don't understand that, it might be time for some different anchors.